Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday, July 11th. Welcome to the Montgomery County Council. We're going to begin this afternoon's session with a proclamation from Vice President Friedson recognizing National Parks and Recreation Month. And I see there is an audience full of folks from our Parks and Recreation Department. Oh, and Councilmember Albornoz. Are you doing that too?
Yeah, together.
Okay, together. That makes sense. Parks and Rec. There you go.
Welcome up our Parks Department and our Recreation Department. I am really excited to be here as the Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee Chair, along with the former Director of the Recreation Department and our colleague, Councilmember Albornoz. We're going to welcome up right now a number of our Parks Department staff as well as our Recreation Department seasonal workers. We do this every year. It has taken new meaning, certainly in recent years, given how much during and in the aftermath of the pandemic we have relied on our parks and on our Recreation Department to provide wellness, to provide community, to provide the type of health type of needs that we have in our community. We have needed our 37,000 acres of parkland and our countless programs now more than ever. Really appreciate the fact that our Recreation Department team is here. This is kind of the Super Bowl season, the summer season for our friends at the Recreation Department. But this year in particular, we always appreciate both of these departments and all that they do for our community, but we asked the two directors to pick employees or programs that they wanted to highlight and acknowledge and thank. And so this year we have our seasonal employees from the Recreation Department to be honored, as well as from the Parks Department, the activation team for our community outdoor parks events. So really excited to be able to acknowledge them and thank them and note just how valuable and important for health and wellness, for quality of life, for community building, and for everything that we do in Montgomery County when we talk about our environmental sustainability, our equity, our health and wellness. So much of what we do runs through these two departments and at every level, at every age, in every demographic. These are two departments that are serving everybody in our community. So let me now turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Albornoz, who has intimate familiarity with the Recreation Department in particular, and turn it over to him.
Thank you so much, Council Vice President Friedson. So I circle this date on the calendar every year because it's an opportunity for us to acknowledge the incredibly dedicated and professional staff of both departments. Both departments are a treasure here in Montgomery County. And you don't have to ask me, you can ask our county residents. Every 2 years, there is a survey done of all of our county residents of the services that they appreciate and like most here in Montgomery County. And consistently, every time that survey is done, both departments come out in the top 3. And that is not by accident. It is because of the incredibly dedicated staff. And just to further prove that, at the 4th of July fireworks in Germantown, which were just last week, the staff was there until 2 a.m., making sure that people got home safely, making sure that they got to their cars. And so, although what we see seems seamless, the work that goes behind the scenes is really extraordinary. And I in particular want to thank Director Riley's, both Riley's, for
I started fresh out of high school. I think I was 18 or 19, and now I'm entering my 30s. So it's definitely been a huge part of my life, specifically in my 20s. Something that I very much have enjoyed is the flexibility of working with recreation and then also being able to go to college and complete my college career and then come back and continue my career here.
I've done summer camp director, I've done after school program, I've done Friday Night Lights. You just talk to people and you make connections with people and just be kind to people. They walk in, hey, what's up, how's everything going, and create those relationships.
I work for the seniors. I love the seniors. The program is excellent for the seniors. I would say enjoy this job. Enjoy, really, really enjoy. All the time smile and good mood.
My experience has been great. Since I started young, I've learned many new things throughout my years of how to be responsible, how to actually work with new people that I have never met. If education is something you're looking into, you should definitely join the rec department because it's actually fun, and also you get to learn new things and how to work around with different age groups from elementary schoolers to high school.
It is never boring at the Senior Center. I get to do different things every day. Bring your own personal background and experience with you because everybody has something to share, and the people here love to do that, love to let you share, but what's really, really good is listen to the people.
If you like adventure, if you like spontaneity, if you like just to have fun with kids, with older students, with adults too, this is a really great place to work at.
All right, so so we want to highlight the fact that the Parks Department and the Recreation Department, they take advantage of every situation and adapt to their surroundings, and that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to adapt to our surroundings, and so let me first call up Director Riley from the Recreation Department and to say a few words and to acknowledge the team.
Well, I'll lean a little. How's that? Thank you. I am extremely proud to be here. Thank you for the recognition. Our team works extremely hard, and relatively a small team in terms of our scope and reach. We have about 2,500 seasonals who work for us, from lifeguards to out of school time to senior programs. You name it, they do it. They are the fuel in our engine. They are the grease on our wheels. They help us make all the connections to our community that we might not otherwise be able to do. So I'm proud to appreciate them and thank them. I'd like each one of them, if we could do a quick speed, just announce your name and sort of what you do real quick, because we do appreciate all that you do. Thank you. Come on. Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Luis Pimentel. I'm with the high school division and rec zone.
Hello, my name is Walter Marquez. I do Excel Beyond the Bell Elementary, working around the county is doing special events.
Hi, my name is Erica Moran, and I run the Senior 55 Plus at the Germantown Community Rec Center. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Astrid Quintanilla. I work pretty much everywhere at the rec, so I don't know what to say. And right now I'm currently camp director at Germantown Community Center.
I'm Lisa Casarino-Lisinski, and I am the event coordinator at the Damascus Senior Center.
Hello, my name is Julia Ortega. I work for the senior program at Long Branch Senior Center. Thank you.
Thank you to each of you, and I know we have another 2,000 or so still out working today, doing camps and pools and running our senior center. So thank you for all their work too, and thank you for this recognition.
Let's hear it for that awesome team. And now we're going to call up Director Mike Riley, and also want to acknowledge Chair Artie Harris of the Park and Planning Commission Planning Board as well.
So being tall is typically an advantage, but not today. And I don't mind being referred to as the other Director Riley to keep things simple. But I do want to thank Council Members Friedson and Aldernos and the whole Council for letting me recognize my tremendous park activation team. It was about 8 years ago when Casey Anderson and I were new in our roles. We got together and we talked about important priorities for the Parks Department. And we came up with what we called the Big Three, which is developing a world-class public athletic field system in our parks and schools, a destination trail network, and then the third one was what we called park activation, this idea of bringing our community members of common interests who may be of diverse backgrounds into our parks to have fun and get to know one another. Historically, we have built beautiful parks with beautiful facilities, but not so much on the programming. Our first attempt 8 years ago, I didn't have an activation team. I had no resources dedicated to this, so pulled together a bunch of staff and we came up with an idea of doing a touch-a-truck at Wall Park in White Flint. We brought all our bucket trucks and police cars and graders, grade-alls into the parking lot and invited families with kids out to touch the trucks. When I got within a half mile of Wall Park, I could hear the horns beeping, and I was worried that that Monday my office would be flooded with calls complaining about the horns, but and that didn't happen, and a lot of people showed up and did a great time. So fast forward now, thanks to the council, I've grown a 5-member team. Every one of these positions was granted at the end of the budget process by the council through the reconciliation process. And we've added positions and grown the team incrementally. They now do events year round. There's some weeks there's events every night. So as I call out their name, please give them a round of applause. Please raise your hand when I call out your name. Mike Coppersmith, Director of Park Activation. Robin Hulvey, Special Events Coordinator. Jordan Crumbach, Parks Activation Specialist. Abby Landis, Park Activation Specialist. And Stephanie Ryan, Event Operations Specialist. Did I miss anything? All right, I'm good. And just one shout out to the division chief who oversees this program, Dave Vismera, and my deputy, Gary Burnett. And I'll just close with some numbers to show you how impressive these events have been. My wife and I attended the Ale Trail hike at Lake Needwood last summer. 1,500 people showed up. It had a band, food trucks, walk around the lake. Acoustics and Ales, again, music, food trucks, local craft beer vendors, 1,000 people at North Four Corners Park, 500 at Flower Ave. We have a program called Parks Playhouse and Parks Playhouse Junior with a variety of events. We had our first Spanish-speaking comedy show at Flower Avenue Park just last week. About 90 people attended. And then one-offs like roller disco at Ridge Road Recreational Park, 450 people showed up. Salsa night at Germantown Town Center, 350, and then Sunday Serenade at Cabin John Amphitheater. I didn't even know we had an amphitheater at Cabin John until a few months ago, but 700 people over 3 events. So look for more to come. We are planning a signature event for the future. It's top secret. I can't tell you what it is or where it's going to be, but look out for something really big coming in the future. But thank you again to the council for allowing me to recognize this tremendous team.
Great, let's hear it for that team. Our parks are for everybody. Our recreation department is for all people at all ages and all abilities, and we're just here and really excited to acknowledge and recognize and celebrate them. So with that, we have a county council proclamation. Whereas Montgomery Parks and Montgomery County Recreation provide programs that are vitally important to establishing and maintaining our quality of life. The talented and dedicated staff and seasonal workers from both organizations provide innovative and inclusive programming for communities and residents across Montgomery County. And
whereas the Parks Department has drastically expanded its slate of community building park events such as comedy nights, acoustics, and Alice, Salsa in the Parks, roller disco, are you listening, Councilmember Katz? Mudfest, movie nights, skate nights, sunset yoga, and much, much more. And whereas attendance figures at park programs can number in the hundreds and sometimes reach thousands of residents and indicates the pent-up demand for entertaining outdoor events in our public spaces that promote social engagement, physical fitness, and mental health and wellness. And whereas Montgomery County Recreation prides itself on the dedication and enthusiasm of its seasonal employees who work in our summer camps, lifeguard at our outdoor pools, and indoor aquatic centers, assist with our senior and after-school programs, and so much more, which helps our county residents create incredible memories that will last a lifetime. And
whereas seasonal employees provide frontline support for Montgomery County Recreation, connecting with community members during the summer and on evenings and weekends, making Montgomery County a stronger and more inclusive community. And whereas the work of the Parks and Recreation departments furthers our county's goals to protect our environment, share our history with residents and visitors, bring community members together to prevent social isolation, promote active lifestyles, and provide learning opportunities for the residents of Montgomery County. Now therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby proclaims the month of July 2023 as National Park and Recreation Month and encourages all community members to get out and enjoy our award-winning medley of trails, parks, sports leagues, nature centers, senior centers, community recreation centers, swimming pools, concerts, camps, and summer programs. Presented on this 11th day of July in the year 2023, also my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. Signed by myself, Andrew Friedson, Council President Glass, and Councilmember Albernaz. Congratulations.
roller disco.
That's good. Sunset yoga.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vice President Friedson, Councilmember Albernaz, and the entire hardworking staff at our Parks Department and our Rec Department. Leslie Knope would learn a lot from what we are doing here in Montgomery County. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our clerk to see if there are any announcements.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. There are no announcements today. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Colleagues, the clerk has circulated the minutes from June 20th, June 27th, and June 28th, and the closed session minutes from June 27th. Are there any objections? Not seeing any objections. Those minutes are approved. We also have a number of public hearings this afternoon before we go to final reading of bills. And the first public hearing is on Bill 2823, Taxation, Fuel Energy Tax, Green Bank. This bill would restrict the use of fuel energy tax funds by the Montgomery County Green Bank to only support activities that promote the investment in clean energy technologies and to provide financing for clean energy technologies, including renewable energy and energy efficiency projects, and not resiliency activities as generally amended by the law related to taxation, the fuel energy tax, and environmental sustainability. A Transportation and Environment Committee work session is scheduled for July 17th. Those wishing to submit testimony must do so before the close of business today, July 11th. And there are no speakers for this hearing, so this public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing on Bill 3023, Rustic Roads Program, Rustic Roads Advisory Committee. This bill would amend Chapter 49 of the County Code to revise the composition of the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee, specifically specify additional duties of the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee, and generally amend Chapter 49 regarding the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee. The Transportation and Environment Committee work session is scheduled for July 17th. Those wishing to submit testimony must do so before the close of business today, July 11th. And we have 8 speakers for this item. 4 are in person, so I'm going to ask all 4 to come on down to the table. Patrick Butler, Bob Sissel, Linda Lewis, and Eric Spates. Always a gentleman. Very good. Mr. Butler, we'll begin with you.
Great, thank you so much. My name is Patrick Butler. I'm the Up County Division Chief for the Montgomery County Planning Department. I'm here to provide background information on Bill 3023, which is accompanying the Rustic Roads Functional Master Plan that was reviewed and approved by the Planning Board. The bill will enact 2 Planning Board recommendations from the Rustic Roads Functional Master Plan update. 1, to change the membership criteria of the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee, and 2, to change the duties of the committee. The proposed membership changes in the bill originated during deliberations in the summer and fall of 2022 on legislation to implement the Complete Streets Design Guide. The RRAC requested to increase the number of members from 7 to 9 and explained that this change would help their workload, and also recommend the 2 new members be at-large members representing the geographical, social, economic, recreational, and cultural concerns of the resident of the county, which would help the county with its racial equity and social justice efforts. The RRAC also recommended removing the income criteria in Chapter 49, which requires farmer members earn at least half their income from farming, stating they do not have financial disclosure requirement, and that the criteria discourage membership from a broader range of farmers. Committee stated that the current requirement that farmer members be owner-operators of commercial farmland would be sufficient for determining farmer members. Our testimony submitted to the council suggested that other testimony submitted to the council suggested that at-large members could be drawn from historic African American communities and churches in the Ag Reserve, historical societies, cycling groups, visitors, and other rustic roads advocates. New farmers in the Land Link program were suggested as alternatives to the farmer members. Many of these farmers grow table crops for direct human consumption, oftentimes for immigrant communities, but they do not own their own farms and need off-farm income to make living to support their farms. In response to the RRAC's recommended changes, the Ag Preservation Advisory Board and the Ag Advisory Committee both submitted testimony opposing those changes, stating the changes would result in a diminished voice of the farmers from 3 out of 7 members to 3 out of 9 for the county's largest agricultural producers who rely on these roads to transport their agricultural products and large equipment. At the request of the Planning Department, the T&E Committee and County Council declined to amend the RRAC membership criteria as part of the Complete Street Design Guide legislation, and instead would explore any changes in context of the membership criteria as part of the update to the Rustic Roads Functional Master Plan. Similar testimony to that above was submitted and received by the Planning Board during their deliberation and of the public hearing draft of the Master Plan update, resulting in the recommendations contained in the current draft of the plan in the proposed bill. Thus, the proposed changes in Bill 3023 and the Rustic Roads Functional Master Plan update provide an opportunity for a diversity of road users not currently represented on the committee to serve on the committee while preserving the commodity farmer's voice. By creating 3 at-large positions, the county executive will be able to draw from a much larger pool of candidates when appointing new members to the committee. The non-exhaustive list of suggested groups is intended to not only support diversity, but also to acknowledge the growing variety of users of rustic roads, and hopefully bring fresh voices and needed diversity to the RRAC. At the same time, increasing the number of farmer members from 3 to 4 keeps the previous ratio of commodity farmers intact, helps preserve the voice of these farmers who are essential for the viability of the county's agricultural reserve. The language and guidance for the at-large selection in this bill was crafted in direct response to the concerns raised by the RRAC and the community members during multiple hearings and work sessions, and the Planning Board believes the language in the plan in this bill transparently addresses the concerns and issues that were raised by the RRAC and community, and strongly recommend you keep this language intact. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. Mr. You can pick up where Mr. Butler left off. Mr. Sissel.
Hi, my name is Bob Sissel. I'm the director of Montgomery Ag Producers. I'd like to thank the president, council president, vice president, and distinguished council members for allowing us to speak. As I said, I'm the director of MAP, Montgomery Agricultural Producers. I'm going to say up front, one of our really good farmers in the county who's been here forever is in the hospital. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take 3 or 4 seconds just of silence. He's in Frederick Memorial Hospital, in and out a lot. Lonnie Luther, you guys mostly know him. So let's just take a second. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And you can take that off my time if you want. As you know, the ag community has struggled with the Rustic Roads program for a long time. It's a maintenance issue, not a numbers issue. It's not a matter of that the roads exist or that the designation exists or that the legislation and regulation exists. It's the fact that they seem to go down when it comes to maintenance once they're put into the program. We've worked with the Montgomery County Department of Transportation recently in a Zoom call, and we're told there's just no budget. There's no money to do regular maintenance on most roads in the county. Therefore, the least traveled roads get the least amount of maintenance, and unfortunately, our farmers use these roads all the time. So just to go through you have written testimony from me. I'll just highlight a few things quickly. We do support going from 7 to 9 members for the committee. We question it, but if the committee feels they need 9 members instead of 7, we'll support that. We have concerns about the bill. The requirement of 50% income for farmers is critically important, and it has to be maintained in order to have our fair share representation on the committee. Someone who has a part-time job doing farming that doesn't have to worry about health insurance, putting kids through college through the income from the farming, doesn't necessarily represent farming. The agricultural reserve was set aside for farming. So we think that 50% income is important. We'd like to see 2 of the 3 farmer members be from larger scale grain farmers. These are farmers that have the most experience of moving large expensive equipment on these roads daily. We believe the at-large position should be more defined in the description, using these roads more than just casually, and they should have some other defined connection to the roads, not just somebody that rides on a bicycle once a month. We believe the new description and responsibilities of the committee is too broad. It's keeping in mind that it's an advisory committee and should not dictate policy, but only advise the county executive and the council on issues that are in front of the roads. The current executive regulations in the master plan reflect 2 areas of concern. The roads maintenance cannot deteriorate after being put into the program. That's in the master plan now. They can't go downhill when it comes to the maintenance once they're put in the program. They must be properly maintained to safely move agricultural goods and services. This means the vegetation should be trimmed, the culverts and shoulders and drainage swales kept functional and safe. These roads get very dangerous when the water can't flow underneath the roads or in the swales that get filled up with branches and leaves. Saving this part of our heritage is important, but just like saving a building of historical importance, that building still must be made safe for people to enjoy it. There is a way to keep the heritage of this road system while at the same time making sure they're safely maintained for people that can use them daily. As I said earlier, the Department of Transportation has the best expertise for doing that, and we should allow them to do their job. 10 seconds. Our founding fathers were smart enough to know that things will change over time. This is why our Constitution can be amended. This bill needs to take into consideration that equipment farmers use today is twice as big as it was 30 years ago. Lastly, we believe the community should meet regularly with the committee should meet regularly with the ag community leadership to review maintenance on these programs. We should meet on a regular basis with this committee, and our farmers are more than willing to do it. Thank you, and thank you for letting me go over, and for the moment for Lonnie.
Absolutely, thank you. Ms. Lewis,
Hi,
turn your
Lewis.
microphone on. There you go.
Hi, I'm Linda Lewis of Lewis Orchards. I'm here to testify with the changes. I personally think membership should include conventional agritourism, tabletop, cattle, horse, hay, and sod farmers, and their income must meet 50%. And 1 person should be appointed from the Ag Advisory Committee. There's no need to expand their duties. Proposed improvements are not executed. For example, May of 2023, a method to fix River Road and its asbestos problem has to, they removed a foot of gravel, replaced it with CR6 and some chemicals. We received only 1 inch of rain and the road became impassable. I had the mail lady call me and told me to tell my employees, do not come that way, because it was that much of a mess. Rustic Roads has made a River Road worse. The EPA has 0 tolerance for asbestos, and that's why all the gravel roads in the Upper County were tarred and chipped years ago. Adding 17 more roads to the 99 is ridiculous when they don't maintain the current ones are maintained. And then I'm going to say this. I feel like I've been discriminated against by Rustic Roads Committee and the county executive. I do not understand how 2 roads that were rustic got paved. One being Mouth of Monocacy Road towards the aqueduct, and the other being West Willard Road from Westerly Road to the new crossvines. Peachtree Road and River Road haven't been paved. And my last thing, our ag reserve was set aside for agriculture, not a playground or a park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Mr. Spates, turn your microphone on. There you go.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric Spates, Second Vice President of Montgomery County Farm Bureau, representing the Farm Bureau, and I also wish to share some of my personal experience with rustic roads. I'm a farmer in the Poolesville area who grew up on and now lives on a rustic road. While it seems that the goals and desires of those of us engaged in production agriculture and the supporters of rustic roads should be, and in many cases are, the same, the reality is that the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee has often disregarded the concerns of the ag community and has left our roads less safe and more difficult to navigate with farm equipment than they were 30 years ago. I should know. I have traveled these back roads in the Poolesville area for 45 years. I also served on the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee. When I was a kid, the county road crews would routinely come trim back trees and other vegetation to assure safe line of sight and passage of larger equipment. They cleaned out culverts and regraded the shoulder of the road. And you know what? Nobody thought the roads weren't rustic. Years ago, I had a conversation with a county road crew who had been cleaning out culverts and regrading the shoulder on Hughes Road when they suddenly stopped. Why, I asked. They informed me that a local resident had yelled at them that this is a rustic road and they are not allowed to widen it. We have seen the same issue with proper tree trimming to assure safe passage of farm equipment, fire and rescue equipment, and school buses. This has been the pattern for years. Neglect our roads because they are designated rustic. So here I'd like to read from the Rustic Roads Functional Master Plan. Quote, because many of these roads are located in the agricultural reserve and serve primarily agricultural uses, it is important that their designation as rustic roads not preclude providing adequate roads for farm equipment or getting products to market. End quote. Unfortunately, we are failing in this requirement. These roads are not safe and they are not adequate. We in the ag community would be very happy to have back the roads we had 30 years ago. Having served on the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee, I truly believe that most members have been well-intentioned, but very few have the perspective of the farmer trying to move large machinery down these roads. It's for this reason that we support the increase in the size of the board only if the regulation is clearly written in such a way that ensures that the farmer members chosen to serve are those who need to move large equipment on the rustic roads regularly. Regarding increasing the duties of the committee, we are opposed. Having personally witnessed the management of River Road, which Linda just referenced, under the guidance of the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee, I cannot help but conclude that there is simply too much involvement. When a roadway that was functional in the past completely fails to the point of being impassable with less than an inch of rain, you know something is wrong. To correct the problem required dozens of county employees working overtime on a Friday evening hauling in larger stone. I can't imagine what this costs the taxpayers of the county at a time when we are routinely told that we don't have the budget for maintenance. The county road crews know what to do and should be allowed to do their job. In conclusion, the Montgomery County Farm Bureau supports the increase in size of the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee only on the conditions stated above. We oppose any further duties for the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Spates. Thank you all for providing your testimony in person today. We now go virtual. There are 4 individuals who will be joining us via video, and the first is Barbara Hoover.
Hi, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
We hear you and see you.
Okay, great. I'm here today on behalf of the West Montgomery County Citizens Association, and we've recently celebrated our 75th year representing the interests of the residents of the Potomac subregion, which contains over 9 rustic and exceptional rustic roads. I'm also a member of the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee, serving as the member who represents a civic association outside of the Ag Reserve where there are rustic roads. WMCCA supports changing the number of voting members from 7 to 9 members who are county residents, including 3 at-large members with general connection to rustic roads through their profession, business, or as users. We support directing the county executive to strive to achieve diversity on the rustic roads in support of racial equity and social justice. We support removing from Bill 3023 lines 25 to 33, which give examples of the at-large members that, because this does not add value and it contains language that we believe does not belong in legislation. I won't read the lines because you will hear more about them later, I think. Additionally, we've had the opportunity to review testimony submitted by the Agricultural Advisory Committee, and we oppose the following recommended change that they made to add the requirement that 3 farmer members of the committee have direct involvement in commodity farmer in lines 26 to 28 of Bill 3023. We believe this unfairly and inappropriately limits the farmer membership on the committee. Farmer membership should include all farmers, including tabletop farmers and agritourism businesses. Both categories are farmers. All agritourism operations are required to do farming, therefore they are farmers. Additionally, limiting farmer participation in this category of committee membership unfairly limits the possible pool of participants to only 35 large-scale commodity farmers when there are over 1,000 farms active in Montgomery County. Discriminating against any type of farmer is inappropriate. The Potomac subregion that WMCCA represents encompasses the 3 planning areas of Potomac, Potomac, Travilla, and Darnestown, which is an area of about 66 square miles bounded by I-270 and I-495. Many of our residents are frequent users of rustic roads and exceptional rustic roads for commuting, recreation, sports, and tourism. We don't have many farms. WMCCA believes that rustic roads are heritage and agricultural tourism assets and must be cherished and protected. According to Sarah Rogers, Executive Director of Heritage Montgomery, rustic roads play a major role in heritage tourism, which is vital to Montgomery County's rural economic development. This agricultural and historical tourism brings in over $376 million in revenue annually. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next is Laura Van Etten.
Yes, hi, Council President Glass, County Council members. I'm testifying for the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee today. And at our last meeting, the committee voted to support the committee membership provisions in this bill, 3023, with one exception. As you may know, we previously sought to remove the income test for farmer members, the requirement that a farmer must earn a majority of their income from farming in order to promote diversity on the committee. However, the planning board kept the income test, and we support that as part of an overall compromise. We note that the planning board took out the word owner from the term owner-operator, which we also support. The bill language keeps the 2 specific provisions that are in current law for members with experience in preservation and roadway engineering, and we support that. The bill would add 1 more member representing farmers, this member to be proposed by the Ag Advisory Committee. That will result in a total of 4 farmer members. We support this change. The bill would add 1 more member who does not farm and remove the current law civic association affiliations for 2 members, thus giving the committee 3 at-large non-farmer members. We support these changes. What the committee opposes is the list of examples added to the bill by planning staff Two of these examples were specifically objected to by planning board commissioners, and those were religious institutions and agritourism event venues. Anyone operating an agritourism venue must be farming pursuant to county zoning code. Therefore, these farm operators should properly join the committee as farmers, not as at-large members. We have had a winery representative on the committee before as a farmer. We ask that all the examples be removed from the final bill because they do not accurately reflect the planning board's decision, and they're misleading, inaccurate, and confusing. Finally, the committee does not support limiting farmer membership to a specific type of farmer. Any and all farmers should be welcome to join, apply for farmer positions on the committee, and we think that discriminating against any kind of farmer is inappropriate. We also strongly support appropriate tree maintenance and have repeatedly asked MCDOT for such maintenance. Our written testimony has some additional information in it, and I appreciate your hearing my comments. I'm done early again. Thank you very much.
Always appreciate that, Ms. Van Etten. Thank you very much for your testimony. Next is Caroline Taylor.
I am Caroline Taylor with Montgomery Countryside Alliance. Thank you, Council President Glass and council members, for the opportunity to give our exuberant support once again for the Rustic Roads. Sorry, there's a message on the screen saying to unmute myself. For the Rustic Roads program. I am going to make this simple in some ways by supporting our colleagues at West Montgomery's testimony, as well as the Rustic Roads Advisory Committee. I do want to give a shout out to Montgomery County Department of Transportation, who has been responsive each time we or others have brought up issues of overhanging trees, downed trees, culvert problems. Their labor load is high, but they do a good job of being responsive. I do also want to make sure that it's very clear that we are laser focused on uplifting equitably all voices of producers. So I just want to make sure that's something I've testified before, but I'm interested in continuing that conversation when this goes to committee. I want to offer a shameless plug for the Ride for the Reserve on September 24th, where riders of different levels throughout the county come out and respectfully ride the roads in the agricultural reserve. I also want to underscore the need, see how I'm using my time? I want to underscore the need for us to groom a new generation of farmers and look forward to the conversation on advancing a farm incubator, something that was shelved 13 years ago. And finally, as you eat your food today, as you go to market, as you go to on-farm markets, please think about our producers who've been laboring under very difficult circumstances. Parts of the county are in severe drought, parts are in moderate drought, and this has been extremely difficult for all of our producers. So I thank you for this time, and I look forward to the continuing conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony and for highlighting some of the events like Ride for the Reserve on September 24th. Our final speaker on this item is Dolores Milmo.
Yes, good afternoon. My family and I have lived in the Ag Reserve on a small farm for 30 years now. My son just finished the new farming training the county provides. Formerly, I was the Maryland advocate for the Audubon Natural Society, and I am a co-founder of the Montgomery Countryside Alliance. In 1994, I worked with then council member Nancy Dasick to help create this master plan of rustic and rural roads. From its inception, they have played a significant role in the protection of Upper Montgomery County as a regional asset and an economic draw for many in the metro region. They complement now the many burgeoning vineyards, wineries, orchards, stables, and art tours, which have made the Ag Reserve a destination for many in the area. Heritage tourism is booming here. I want to especially profile a particular person who asked me to mention her support for these roads today, and that is Tanya Spondola, who has been farming since 2015 in the county and enthusiastically supports this rural and rustic roads program. She is one of the new faces of farming over the last 2 decades in the county. She grows ethnic crops mostly African, corn, pumpkins, and okra. And she actually is a tremendous asset for the Ag Reserve because she's been profiled by the Washington Post, PBS, the Washingtonian Magazine. Tanya does not depend on large equipment to move her crops. I want to state that while we respect the commodity farmers, I say that there are many, many more different types of farmers in the Ag Reserve now than there were 20 years ago. We endorse the comments of the Rustic Road Committee and the West Montgomery Civic Association. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Milmo, and thank you to everybody for testifying on this item. Again, there will be a Transportation and Environment Committee work session on July 17th, and all those wishing to submit testimony must do so by the close of business today, July 11th. Councilmember Mink.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for testifying. I just had a quick clarifying question. I don't know if Barbara Hoover happens to still be on the line. She asked us to remove lines, I think, 25 to 33, and just wanted to double check. I think that you're referring to lines 41 through 49, but I just wanted to double check about that. That was a list of examples about of at-large members.
Without pulling the document up, it's on.
It says like a table crop farmer who does not earn more than 50%, an expert in tourism or historic sites, et cetera, a member of a religious institution on a rustic road, an operator of an agritourism business.
Let me pull this up just a minute. It starts with examples of the at-large members include but are not limited to.
Okay. I just wanted to double check because there were two sections that you referred to, and I just wanted to make sure that I had the right request.
And Ms. Hoover, if you want to send in email your testimony that you just presented or any clarifying information, you can do so too.
Yes, I've already done that, and the clarifying, I've put the exact language in there, which I figured I can read it to you again.
Nope, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You want me to?
No, we're good. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hoover. I appreciate it. Thank you, Councilmember Mink. And with that, this public hearing is now closed. The next public hearing is for Bill 3123, Technical Corrections. This bill would correct technical, typographical, grammatical, reference, or codification errors and make stylistic, clarifying, and conforming amendments to various provisions of county law. Action is scheduled later in today's session. There are no speakers for this public hearing, and this public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing for Expedited Bill 2923, Administration, Non-Merit Positions, Department of Environmental Protection, Department of Transportation. The bill would make the position of Deputy Director in the Department of Environmental Protections a non-merit position, and make the position of General Manager, Transit Services a non-merit position. The Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee work session is scheduled for July 20th. Those wishing to submit testimony must do so before the close of business on July 19th. We have one speaker for this, and that is Fariba Kassiri, representing the County Executive.
Good afternoon. My name is Fariba Kassiri, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, and I'm here on behalf of County Executive Eldridge to testify in support of Bill 29-23E. This bill converts one position from Department of Transportation and one from Department of Environmental Protection to non-merit appointed positions. I would like to clarify that the staff packet indicates we would be creating two new positions. Instead, we will repurpose two existing positions, which will be cost neutral and not change the personal complement. This action would, however, provide key strategic leadership at the top of these two departments. The action proposed by this bill brings these two positions in alignment with similar positions in other mission-critical departments such as HHS, police, fire, DHCA, TIPS, and N1B, which have appointed deputy directors and or division chiefs. The appointment process for these high-level non-made positions offers the public the opportunity for input and requires County Council's interview and approval. These two positions are deeply involved in the development of high-level countywide policies and services that have direct impact on the quality of life for Montgomery County residents. These positions also have key management responsibilities, maintain public engagement, develop and implement high-impact programs that protect the county's air, water, and land, and ensure top-notch, safe, and equitable transportation options across the county. The Division of Transit Services, with a budget of nearly $183 million and a staff of 870 people, represents the vast majority of front-facing staff in DOT, and the most significant direct public service provided by the department on a daily basis. The Department of Environmental Protection, with an operating budget of $187 million, a CIP budget of $400 million, and a staff of 250 people, leads the county's efforts in all areas of environmental protection, such as climate change, energy, watershed restoration, as well as recycling and resource management. Repurposing these existing positions to non-merit will increase the value they bring to the county and ensure full accountability to the taxpayers of Montgomery County, the County Council, and the County Executive. Furthermore, the non-merit designation of these positions allows for regular innovation at the senior management level in these departments, thereby resulting in more effective operations and value to taxpayers. I appreciate your consideration and your favorable vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kassiri. There are no other speakers for this public hearing, and this public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing for a resolution to adopt Executive Regulation 523, non-merit position, Deputy Director, Department of Environmental Protection. A Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee work session is scheduled for July 20th. Those wishing to submit public testimony should do so before the end of business on July 13th. There are no speakers for this public hearing, and this public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing for a resolution to adopt Executive Regulation 623, non-merit position, General Manager of Transit Services, Department of Transportation. A Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee work session is scheduled for July 20th. Those wishing to submit testimony must do so before the close of business on July 13th. There are no speakers for this hearing, and this public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing for an amendment to the FY23 to 28 Capital Improvements Program Nonprofit Preservation Fund. Action is scheduled for July 18th. Those wishing to submit testimony must do so before the close of business today, July 11th. We have two speakers, both of whom are joining us virtually. First is Mr. Rob Goldman.
Good afternoon, and Council President and members of the Council. Appreciate the opportunity to testify. My name is Robert Goldman. I'm the President of Montgomery Housing Partnership, and we wholeheartedly support the creation of the Nonprofit Preservation Fund. I also say that we're part of Montgomery Housing Alliance, who will be testifying after me, and support their testimony as well. This fund would create the Nonprofit Preservation Fund and initially provide about $20 million for that fund. I want to thank Councilmember Friedson for his active work on helping to create this fund. This is a fund that we've been discussing for a few years with both Councilmember Friedson and former Councilmember Reamer. I think we trying to figure out a way to pay for it, and fortunately we have now found a way at least to get the fund started. The ultimate goal is to get this up to $50 million, and our goal would be to hopefully after this year use bonds or some additional new funds to support this fund. We are in a desperate, affordable housing crisis right now, and many naturally occurring affordable housing that's out there is at risk of being lost. And so we're in great need, especially with the Purple Line. Many affordable housing, non-restricted properties could be on the market and could be at risk of being lost. MHP, for example, purchased 2 properties last year, the Rollingwood Terrace near the Purple Line, as well as Earl Manor Apartments, and both of those properties were at risk of being lost. And so having funds dedicated for preservation of housing and affordable housing is greatly needed. I think that I'll stop there, but it's saying we support the fund. Also, through the discussions of creating this fund, I think we came to the realization that the department has been using not the best approach in using the right of first refusal, and there's some legal reasons why they're doing it the way they are. So I think all this unearthed the need to amend the right of first refusal law, and we look forward to future legislation, which I think the administration and council members are working on. So thank you, council members, for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goldman. Next is Mary Kolar.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council President Glass and members of the council. My name is Mary Kolar, and I'm testifying on behalf of Montgomery Housing Alliance. MHA strongly supports the creation of the proposed nonprofit preservation fund. A diverse, vibrant, and economically robust Montgomery County is not possible if we cannot ensure that all residents have access to affordable homes. To meet this goal, we know that we need myriad strategies and tools. The Nonprofit Preservation Fund is one such important tool. As you know, affordable housing is one of the county's most pervasive and persistent challenges. According to a 2020 study done by the Planning Department, the county is at risk of losing 7,000 to 11,000 units of naturally occurring affordable housing by 2030. Losses of this magnitude would only further compound the deficit of affordable units we face. As you know, the county must significantly increase housing production over the remainder of the decade in order to meet the needs of our population. Adequately preserving NOAA units will prevent need from deepening and, critically, will increase housing stability for the households who reside in these communities. While we support amending the FY23 through 28 CIP to establish the Nonprofit Preservation Fund and direct an initial $20 million from the HIF to it, we want to emphasize the very real need for net new funds for housing development and preservation. We simply cannot meet the challenge of providing affordable housing at the necessary scale without robust investment in the HIF and other programs. In addition to establishing the Nonprofit Preservation Fund, it is critical that the county explore ways to add to it in future years through net new funds, such as bond financing, rather than reprogramming funds already in the HIF. Additionally, as Rob mentioned, the impact of this new fund would be significantly amplified with improvements to the county's right of first refusal law. Such improvements would allow the law to be exercised in a more efficient and effective way. We commend Council Vice President Friedson, DHCA, and HOC for working together to develop a strong proposal and framework. The Nonprofit Preservation Fund will provide ready resources to purchase and preserve affordable housing. This is critical in order to stem further loss of affordable units and to produce new units of the magnitude required to address growing need. We applaud the Council's ongoing commitment to housing issues, and we strongly urge you to establish the Nonprofit Preservation Fund, work towards strengthening the ROFR law, and ensure that future resources for preservation are provided through net new funding. Together, these steps will allow us to make real progress toward meeting housing targets and increasing affordability in an equitable way. Thank you for the opportunity to provide input on this matter.
Thank you, Ms. Kolar. There are no other speakers for this public hearing, and this public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing for an amendment to the FY23 to 28 Capital Improvements Program. preservation of naturally occurring affordable housing. Action is scheduled for July 18th, and those wishing to submit testimony must do so before the close of business today, July 11th. There are no speakers for this public hearing, and this public hearing is now closed. The final public hearing today is for information contained in the Report Police Statistical Data as required by Bill 4520. According to Section 35(6)(a)(c) of Bill 4520, the Montgomery County Police Department is required to provide an annual report to the council by February 1st containing specified data elements as required by law. The council must hold a public hearing on this report, and the Montgomery County Police transmitted this report on February 22nd of 2022, and the report was released on June 20th, 2023. We have one speaker on this item, and that is Robert Landau with, who's in person. There you go.
Thank you, President, Vice President, and council members. My name is Robert Landau, and I'm testifying on behalf of the Silver Spring Justice Coalition. We have provided further details in our written testimony. Fundamental to SSJC's work to reduce the harms of policing while empowering communities is for public access to data about policing in our county. MCPD has an obligation to function in a transparent manner that enables the public, and in particular those communities most impacted by policing, to monitor and examine how MCPD interacts with members of the public. MCPD has failed to report all the data required by the law, despite the fact that the law was enacted 20 months ago. We are particularly concerned with the absence of data on race and ethnicity. MCPD has had more than enough time to collect and report all the required data, and there's no good excuse for the violation of the law. In addition, the law requires MCPD to report on de-escalation training, but MCPD's description only describes academy training provided to the approximately 50 new recruits each year. It says nothing about in-service de-escalation training for the approximately 1,300 active officers. The council should require MCPD to provide a full accounting of their de-escalation training for active officers and recruits by August 30th, 2023. As described in greater detail in our written testimony, we found numerous other omissions. For example, we found at least 8 data sets that were not posted on Data Montgomery as required by the law. The council should require MCPD to fix these deficiencies by a date certain and to impose appropriate sanctions for its failure to meet these new deadlines. We also ask that the council amend the law to include both annual reporting and Data Montgomery postings, to include date and time and the usual demographic data for the following 7 items, which I'm obviously not going to get to, but they're detailed in our written report. I'll just use my time for the few that I can talk about. For each use of force, whether a person is being apprehended had a visible or known weapon, the type of weapon they were supposed to have had, and the type of de-escalation that was used. Secondly, expand the reporting of complaints against officers to include complaints whether brought by members of the public or by lodged internally. This would be consistent with our new state disciplinary system and does not distinguish between internal and external complaints. And the last item I'll get to is the total number of mental or behavioral health crisis response dispatches that result in a police co-response with a mobile crisis outreach team. With each incident reported in Data Montgomery, including all the details of date, time, and demographic information. I had 4 other items, but I'll leave that to the written testimony. Thank you for your attention.
You can provide that in written testimony. Thank you very much for your testimony, Mr. Landau. There are no other speakers for this item, so this public hearing is now closed. That concludes public hearings for today, and we are now going to move into legislative session day 21. We have one bill for final reading, and that's Bill 3123, technical corrections. And Ms. Zacconi is working her way up.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council Vice President, and the Council members. This is Bill 3123, Technical Corrections, is the one on which the public hearing was just held a few minutes ago. And unless there are any specific questions, it purely is correcting typographical and stylistic changes that are required throughout the code.
Very good. Very technical in nature. Is there a motion for this bill?
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Friedson. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Katz. Okay, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember Lutke?
Yes.
Councilmember Lutke votes yes. Councilmember Mink?
Yes.
Councilmember Mink votes yes. Councilmember Sales?
Yes.
Councilmember Sales votes yes. Councilmember Albornoz?
Yes.
Councilmember Albornoz votes yes. Councilmember Duwando?
Yes.
Councilmember Duwando votes yes. Councilmember Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Katz votes yes. Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart votes yes. Councilmember Fanning Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fanning Gonzalez votes yes. Councilmember Balcom?
Yes.
Councilmember Balcom votes yes. Councilmember Friedson?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedson votes yes. Councilmember Glass?
Yes.
Councilmember Glass votes yes.
And that is unanimous. Thank you very much, Ms. Zacconi.
Thank you.
Next, we are going to sit as District Council and make a decision on the approval or disapproval of the Planning Board draft amendments to the master plan for historic preservation, specifically related to the Edward U. Taylor Elementary School and the Wellers Dry Cleaning site. Council Vice President Friedson will report out the Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee's recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will do this. I think it's pretty straightforward. The Planning, Housing, Parks Committee reviewed the items on June 12th and unanimously recommended both the approval of the Edward U. Taylor Elementary School to the Master Plan for Historic Preservation and disapproval of the Wellers Dry Cleaning Amendment, so essentially adopting the Planning Board recommendation. The Planning Board draft amendment to the Master Plan for Historic Preservation for the Edward U. Taylor School covers a 7-acre property in Boyds that includes the school building, 2 baseball fields, and various outbuildings. The Taylor School provides a unique opportunity to protect a cultural landscape that documents the progression of school design for Black students and recognizes a significant educational landmark for Black residents in the county during the mid-20th century. The Planning Board, 5-0, found that the Edward U. Taylor Elementary School met the 3 designation criteria as listed in Chapter 24A3 of the Montgomery County Code and recommended the Taylor School for historic designation. The board suggests that the council consider designating a smaller section of the parcel as the environmental setting rather than designating the entire area, the building and the totality of the property as currently shown in the amendment. The committee unanimously recommended that the amendment to the Master Plan for Historic Preservation for the Edward U. Taylor Elementary School, including the designation of a smaller section of the parcel as the environmental setting rather than the entire area, the building and the property, as shown in the amendment as submitted, and that is currently before the council. I'll just note that the maps for those interests on page 4 of the packet. I did just want to give an excerpt from the description because I think it's important, and I also wanted to strongly encourage for those who haven't to go through and read the planning department's description of the property, the history, talking about both the school and Edward U. Taylor. Both the property and the school and the individual for which it's named carry critical significance to the county and to the journey that the county continues on today. And I just wanted to thank the planning department for all of the work that has been undertaken and encourage those viewing and those colleagues to do it. But the Taylor School serves as a reminder of the final stages of the desegregation plan enacted in Montgomery County following the Supreme Court decision in Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka in 1954. One of the last county schools to be desegregated in 1961, the Taylor School was the only segregated black elementary or high school to retain its original use. The Board of Education decided against reopening the other 3 consolidated segregated black elementary schools as integrated elementary schools due to the percentage of black students within the respective districts. As a result, the burden to ensure desegregation at artificially created ratios fell entirely to the black community. Preserving the architecture of racial segregation creates a forum to educate the public, provides spaces to deliberate past and modern race relations, and discuss social justice and tolerance. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I think it's important. It's why we're here and why we're doing this. And so I just wanted to note that. So that is before the committee. That is to include the Edward U. Taylor School as to historic preservation, the master plan for historic preservation. And then also before, based on the recommendation, was the Weller's dry cleaning site. The committee also recommended against including that to the master plan for preservation. The board voted 3-2 against including it, and the committee unanimously recommended to support the planning board decision to not include the Weller's dry cleaning site to the master plan for historic preservation. So with that, there's a committee recommendation before the body, and I will yield back to you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, in that capacity. Ms. Dunn, is there anything else you want to add?
No, there's nothing of substance I want to add, except there's one slight correction to the resolution on line 38. The date was listed as July 10th, trying to indicate the meeting of today. Obviously, it's July 11th, so that'll be corrected.
Okay. Duly noted. Thank you. So, colleagues, the Planning, Housing, Parks Committee has recommended approval for the Planning Board's recommendation. So those in favor of the approval of the Edward U. Taylor Elementary School amendment to the Master Plan for Historic Preservation and the disapproval of the Weller's Dry Cleaning Amendment, please raise your hand. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much, colleagues. And thank you very much, Planning Board. And colleagues, I need a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Luedtke, seconded by Councilmember Stewart. All those in favor of the consent calendar? And that is unanimous, and we are adjourned.